Hey everyone, as you may know, DaVinci Resolve Fusion has a ton of nodes to enhance your video editing and graphic works. We often use everyday nodes such as merge node, transform node, text node, and so on. However, we also have less popular nodes that deserve more attention. In this video, I'm going to highlight 5 underrated nodes that you should use more often. So let's dive right in. Hey, but before we begin, just a quick reminder, I'm not going to dive deep into the tutorial aspect of this video. But if you want me to do a tutorial on any of these nodes, let me know on the comment down below. Okay, so let's get started. So we are going to start with the number 1 node, the Dissolve node. Okay, so the Dissolve node simply allows for seamless transition between different clips within the same clip. Okay, that sounds kind of wild, but let's just go to the examples and see what we mean here. Looking at the DaVinci Resolve menu here, this is the edit page. I already have some of these nodes already arranged, so I'm just going to explain what these are. All right, so let's head over to the Fusion page. Okay, let's just start from the beginning. Okay, so I have 2 images here. Okay, so this is a media 2 and media 3. Take out everything and let's start from the beginning. Let's begin with a background. That could be any media in as well, so that could be substituted to any media in. You know what? Let's start with the image, and this is the first picture. Okay, and this is the second picture here. Let's put this to the viewer. Okay, so now we also have the Dissolve node. So let's put the Dissolve node right in between media 2 and media out. Okay, you could hold shift to do that and place this here, and that's going to happen automatically. As you can see, when you go to the Dissolve inspector, there's a background, foreground control. Okay, so what this does is it switches between background and foreground. So it's simply going to switch between the 2 images. Okay, so one is definitely going to be like a background and the other one is going to be like a foreground. Okay, so let's put this as a foreground so that we could switch between the background and the foreground. Okay, so let's select Dissolve again and let's head back to the inspector. And now when we go back and forth with this, okay, hold up, you gotta put this media out in here so that we could see the final result. Okay, so now when we go between foreground and background, you see what happens? Okay, it switches between the foreground and background. And when you go again to the extreme, then it also switches to the size of the image. Okay, if you don't want to do that, you also don't have to go all the way to the right. Okay, so you could simply switch from here to about 0.795. okay, that would do the trick as well. All right, so let's head over to the second one. Okay, so let's head to the second one. So the second one is Optical Flow Node. I'm not going to demonstrate what this does like that, simply because you need a slow-mo clip. All right, so as you know, with the slow-mo clip, the more frame you have, the better your slow-mo. Okay, so if you have 30 frames per second as your slow-mo, it's not going to look as good. If you have 60 frames per second, it's going to look better than the 30 frames per second, but it's still not going to be the best look for slow-mo, especially if you're going super slow. Okay, so usually you have slow-mos like 120 frames per second. It's going to look a little better, you know. Then you have 240 frames per second. This is where your slow-mos start to look a little better, you know, because you have a lot more frames to fill up. Okay, to fill up those images. All right, so what does that mean? If you have 30 frames per second and you still want to do your slow-mos, it's possible. And DaVinci has again what we call Optical Flow Node in the Fusion page. Okay, so let's head back there to the Fusion page now, and as you can see, this is the Optical Flow Node right here. Okay, you already know how to get it. You hit Shift spacebar and you could type in Optical Flow. Okay, and you get it. All right, so that's how you got it. What that does is when you use it, DaVinci Resolve is going to try to fill in the gaps, making it a lot more smoother. And the reason why it's underrated in the Fusion page is because the edit page also has something similar. Okay, so with the edit page, if you go to real time and scaling, okay, so if you go to real time process, you still have the same thing, optical flow right here, and it does the same thing. The reason why it's underrated to me is because it's also available on the Fusion page. So some people might not know that it's also available in the Fusion page. Either way, it's going to do the same thing. It's going to try to smooth out your slow motion. Okay, but if you want me to do a tutorial on this, then let me know on the comment section below. Okay, so let's head to our next one. Okay, so our next one is Planar Tracker Node. Keep in mind that DaVinci Resolve also have a lot of trackers out there, and Planar Tracker is a bit different from the regular trackers out there, so be mindful of that. Let's dive in and see what I'm talking about. Okay, so the Planar Tracker, just like the name suggests, it's trying to track a flatter object. Okay, anyway, let's dive right in. Okay, so let's start afresh. You've already seen what I did here. If I play this, you can see that car on my t-shirt, so I use the Planar Tracker to track it. So if I play, it looks like it's actually on my t-shirt. It wasn't actually on my t-shirt on this video. All right, so how did I do it? Let me show you how I did it. Okay, all right, so I'm just gonna start from the beginning. So I have my media here. All right, I'm just gonna try from the beginning to make it easy. All right, so I simply have this clip of, I believe, my last intro video clip. I'm just gonna start here. All right, so I'm gonna select the media in, and I'm gonna hit Shift spacebar, and I'm gonna look for Planar Tracker. There you go, Planar Tracker. All right, so I'm gonna select this one right here. And so what you're gonna do first is you are going to set where you want your Planar Tracker to start from. All right, so I'm going to go to 0. Okay, and I'm going to go over to the inspector, and I'm going to select set. You've told DaVinci where to start tracking when you click on set. So after you've select set, select the area that you want to track. Okay, so let's just track this area, and keep in mind this is like a polygon, so you could create any kind of shape that you want. All right, so I've already set where I want my trackers to begin, right? You could do that after selecting the area that you want to, or you could do it before. It doesn't matter. Okay, so now after you have selected the area that you want to track, head over to the inspector side, head to the pattern side, and do not select this one because this is just going to go to the next frame. Select track to end. Click on it, and it's going to track from the set point to the end. Okay, so as you can see, this is a short clip, so it was pretty quick. If you have a decent computer, it's going to go quick. So after you've done that, you could select create planar transform. So when you create planar transform, you are going to get the node appear somewhere outside of your flow node. Select the Planar Tracker. Now you could remove this from your workflow. Okay, you add this with a merge. Okay, you could do that easily by dragging the output of the Planar Transform to the output of the media in, and you're gonna create the merge node. All right, or you could do it manually. Just add merge node and drop it as a foreground. Okay, now you could select your picture that you want to attach to that area and connect it to the Planar Transform. As you can see, this picture is a bit bigger, and you want to reduce the size so that it will make sense. All right. So what you want to do now is to add transform to the media in or the picture. All right. Reduce the size. All right. So let's select both. Okay, so make sure this is selected. So when you select both, now you could see both the tracker and your picture, and you could control it. All right, instead of trying to do a guesswork. So you can now put your stuff here, put your image here, or you can make it smaller if you choose to. So let's make it a bit smaller. Let's move this here. Okay. All right, okay, so that's perfect. So now if I play this, let's see how it looks like. Hey guys, I'm back again. Oh, that looks pretty amazing. Okay, so it looks like it's actually on my shirt. So that looks great. That looks fantastic. So guys, that's Planar Tracker for you. Planar Tracker might actually be the best tracker in DaVinci Resolve, if you ask me. But hey, who's keeping track? No pun intended. All right, we are done with the Planar Tracker. So let's move on to the next one. Okay, so the next one, let's head to our edit page. The next one is Grid Warp Node. I have that same image. Okay, as you know, that image was big, so I used transform to reduce it to the size here to make sense in this image. All right, so what I'm gonna do now is to go and get that node. Okay, the Grid Warp Node. All right, so shift space bar, hit grid. Okay, so Grid Warp right here, and let's add it. So I'm going to select transform node. Oh, hold on, let me cancel this. I'm going to select transform node, so I'm going to add it after transform node. All right, that will make more sense, right? And let's look for grid. All right, Grid Warp Node. All right, boom, and you are going to see these grids on your image. So just like the name suggests, you could warp any side of this image. Okay, so you could warp these images like this. Okay, so this is actually underrated. I don't see a lot of people using this effect at all. All right, so this is underrated. Pretty easy and simple. Okay, so with that being said, let's head to the last example, last but not the least. This one I actually use quite often. All right, so the next one is the letterbox. For this one, I'm going to have to go to a different timeline for this one. Okay, all right, so before I go to the different timeline, the reason why I'm going to another timeline is because the next timeline is not going to be the same 1920 by 1080 resolution. I'm trying to create a vertical resolution like what your social media uses. Let's head to my next timeline because that's going to make it easier to explain. As you can see, we have a short here, and as you can see, this video size is too long or too large to appear on this resolution. Okay, so as you can see, I have cam video on this side and I have my screen recording video, okay, side by side. So it's going to be hard to navigate back and forth, especially to navigate where I'm doing my explanation. All right, especially if you're creating shorts, it's going to be hard to navigate where exactly on the screen you are talking about. Okay, so let's head to Fusion and see how the letterbox could help us deal with this problem. All right, so let's go to the Fusion page. We have the media in attached to the media out directly. All right, so the letterbox could help us edit this much more easier. Okay, so with this, we're gonna have to need this two viewer page. Okay, so this is gonna make it a bit easier. So if we add the letterbox, let's add letterbox here. With the letterbox, as you can see, one is vertical and one have the entire image. Okay, so now we could use this arrow here to gauge where we're talking. So we're seeing the whole image on one side and we're seeing the vertical on the other side. It becomes easier to just move around. Working on an area that you're trying to explain becomes way more easier and way more faster. Okay, so on the letterbox, you could also choose to fit this envelope style, like this style here, envelope style, or pan and scan as they call it here, to fit the entire screen. Okay, so this gave you a lot of options to just work easier and work more focused on the area that you are particularly trying to focus on. By the way, the letterbox is also extremely useful in other areas as well. So this is just one of the areas that the letterbox is useful. So this is one of the ways that I actually use the letterbox. So guys, with that being said, those are the 5 underrated nodes that you should definitely try to use more often. And they are going to make your job a lot more easier. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will catch you on the next video. Peace.